Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Somers Sports Podcast. I'm Brendan Nappi. I'm here with
Benny.
and we're going to jump right into our usual Somer Sports recaps. Benny, take us away.
So our first game, we had varsity flag football on May 9th as they took on Putt Valley, and it was a 12-7 loss for them.
Yeah, next day on May 10th, varsity baseball faced off against Mayapack. They lost 12-0.
And then also on May 10th, we had varsity baseball as they took on Brewster, and they lost 18-14.
Same day, varsity boys lacrosse was at Garden City and they lost 12-6.
And then on May 12th, we had a varsity baseball matchup, Somers versus Yorktown, and unfortunately the Tuskers lost that one 5-2.
May 12th, varsity girls was at Pelham and they lost 17-7.
And then on May 13th, we had varsity baseball against Yorktown once again, and it was a 9-2 loss, this time to Yorktown.
Yeah, tough losing to the same team back-to-back days. But May 13th, varsity boys lacrosse was at Carmel, and they won 20-6.
Yeah, that was a great game, just domination by Somers. And then this past Monday, I had the pleasure to call this game in addition to the girls lacrosse game yesterday. We have girls varsity lacrosse as they took on Lakeland Panis, as they were able to pull ahead at the end. Lakeland Panis did give up a great fight, but Somers wound up taking that one 14-8.
Yeah, May 14th, varsity flag football was at Peekskill, and they won 15-0.
And then we had girls varsity lacrosse last night. First, Hen Hut. Somers started off strong, going up 5-1 early, but Hen Hut was able to easily get back into this one, tying it at 6 and then tying it at 7. And it was back and forth since that point, and then up by 3 towards late in the game was the Tuskers, and then Hen Hut went on a run to tie it up. It was tied at 14. Hen Hut got a goal to pull ahead, and as time expires, Hen Hut took the ball back by Somers, who tried to get it down to try to tie it to go into overtime. So Hen Hut takes that one 15-14.
Yeah, it was a competitive game, but tough loss in the fourth quarter for the girls team there. And next, we're going to bring in Coach Sokolofsky of varsity football and varsity track. Today we're here with Coach Sokolofsky, the track team and the football team. So you coach two different sports. What are your two different approaches you have for those?
That's a good question. They are very different sports, which is actually one of the reasons why I'm able to coach both, because it's not so much of the same thing throughout the year. Track and field is a much different, it's a tremendous team sport in meets where you're working together to score points, but it's also a very individual sport. So athletes are training hard on their own in terms of trying to get those marks that they want to get, and you're kind of helping them prepare for that as they go along. Football, there's so much of a team aspect to it that they're two very, very different sports, and I think that's what allows me to kind of be able to stay really motivated in both of those sports, but very different, but I love both of the sports a lot, so it's been awesome.
Yeah, that's definitely cool. And what inspired you to become a coach for both football and track?
So when I was in high school, I was a 3-sport athlete. I did football, basketball, and track and field. And I switched to track. I was a baseball player, but I was kind of sick of being with the same great athletes in baseball and kind of being behind them. So I ventured out into track and had a really successful high school track career. And then at Cortland, where I went to college, I did both sports. So I was actually all 3 seasons at Cortland. I did football in the fall and then indoor and outdoor track and field at Cortland as well. So when I came to Somers, I was able to meet, obviously, the football coach, Tony DiMatteo, who I was really interested in coaching with, and the track and field coaches, which were Roy Arneson and Tim Fulton at the time. And Roy's who the track is named after. So I was really lucky when I first got here to be under some really good mentors in both sports.
Yeah, so we'll talk about football first. So what is your coaching background in football?
So at Cortland, being a player, obviously, my entire life was an important piece to that, and I loved football so much that I didn't really want to let it go even after finishing in college. The idea was that my last year at Cortland, I was injured and couldn't play as a football player, so I became a JV coach there. So I started coaching JV football at SUNY Cortland, and then when I first started here, I was a modified coach for 2 years, and then I was able to move up to the varsity when the offensive line coach retired. So I've been coaching here for 24 years. 22 of them were varsity, and I took over the offensive line pretty much right away, and defensive ends as well, which is still what I coach to this day. In terms of football. And then basically I learned so much from Tony DiMatteo here, and learning about paying attention to the details and learning the entire sport of football, not just the position I was coaching, really helps you be successful at coaching your position when you can see the whole picture. It's been super helpful in terms of my background with that.
So you kind of answered this question already, but so your main focus as a coach, why did you pick that focus?
I think my main focus as a football coach is to get my positions specifically, and everybody, because we all work together, to pay attention to the details, to realize how important the little things are to our overall success. And that's something that's hard for a high school athlete to understand. You know, they're getting to practice, they're trying to get through practice because nobody loves practice, not even the coaches. But making them realize that the details and the little things are important is really my main focus throughout the season, whether it's preparing for a game or even watching film after a game. We pay attention to their first step and their second step and their head placement, and all the little details are the things that we focus on the most, because that's what really works its way into the big picture.
Yeah, so could you describe for us what a typical day looks like for you during football season?
Yeah, so football's obviously it's a lot of time. So our typical, if I look at it from a week perspective, Monday and Tuesday is a big install day for our plays and the things that we're going to be doing that week. We get them to understand the other team and what we're doing and why we're doing it, and we practice those things. And we practice from 2:30 until about 5:15 or so, 5:30. And then Wednesday we go to our helmet and shoulder pads, where we're still finishing up our installation, but we have to get some of the other stuff prepared for the game as well. Goal line offense, goal line defense, things like that. Thursday's our pregame day, which usually after we run through everything, we have a team dinner and eat together, and we're generally done by about 6:30 those days. Friday's usually game night, and then Saturday we come in for about 4 hours or so to do film and look at the mistakes from the game and make those corrections, and the kids work out. And then Sunday we come in here all day to prepare for the next game. So it's 7 days a week, sometimes 40 or 50 hours a week of just football alone, not including our teaching job. So it's a lot of time, and the season is you just got to put your head down and fight through the tiredness and drink coffee and kind of push yourself through, and you just keep looking at that motivation to get to the next level and the next game and stuff. So
definitely sounds like there's a lot of moving parts for each week.
It's a lot, absolutely. Yeah, football's intense when it comes to all that stuff. A lot of time.
Yeah, definitely. And what do you do with the team during the off season to be fully prepared for next year?
So we work on giving them a little bit of time off after the season, and then after the holidays we start to develop our lifting program, where they check in, they get lifts from our trainer, Kevin Mullen, and they test on all their lifts, and they go through that lifting program through the winter. And then when the spring starts, after a couple of weeks, we start 1 day a week practices. So we have 7-on-7 throwing that Coach DiMatteo runs, and I run offensive line sessions where we start to install our plays, and we do drills and things that you don't always get to during the season to prepare ourselves physically for the season. And Coach Packer will meet with them for defense, and Coach Cleary with the linebackers, and we start to meet them as much as possible. Then we have 7-on-7s, which are tournaments that we enter with our team. Usually there's a lineman challenge in there, which is all the linemen from different schools come together, which is pretty cool. And then we have our camps over the summer and our 3 days a week workouts over the summer as well, before the season even starts. Yeah,
it's definitely a lot.
It's a lot. It's a year. It's pretty much a year-round thing, because then as coaches we're also watching the films from last year to see what things worked, what didn't work, as well as watching teams that we're going to be playing next year.
Yeah, and how do you guys plan to win a 4th consecutive championship?
So I think the key is to continue what we've done, obviously, to not veer off the path, because what we've been doing is obviously working. But at the same time, we continue to make changes. We have to figure out each team, because each team is different. So we have to figure out which plays are going to work for our personnel, and what we should be doing more of or what we should be doing less of. And I think just having our kids realize that they're not just going to win a championship because they're playing here, because we've been so successful. They have to realize that each team has to earn it themselves and put in the work and put in the time. So I think that's a big factor as to how the team comes together when the season starts.
Yeah, definitely. And now let's move a little more onto track. So what is your background of coaching track?
So track, again, I competed in track for many years as a jumper and a sprinter. And then when I came here, I became the jumping coach for the boys and the girls. And I've been here coaching track for 24 years. And I have also, once Roy Arneson retired, I took over the boys team for 6 years. And I was the head coach of the boys. And then I went back to being an assistant in 2020, which was the COVID year. I went back to being an assistant. I realized that there's so much technology involved in coaching track now in terms of entries and putting kids in the computer before the meet so that they're registered for the meet. And I'm a little bit more old school, where that was kind of difficult for me, so I had the younger coaches doing that for me. I also have my own kids now, so I knew that I would need a little bit of freedom to get to their games, so I decided to step back and be an assistant again in track and field. But obviously over the last 24 years, our track teams had a lot of success, both in indoor and outdoor. And I don't coach indoor because I'd like to spend that winter season with my family, and it keeps me kind of fresh, for both football and track in the spring.
Yeah, and what aspects of track and field are you currently coaching?
So I coach the girls sprinters, as well as both boys and girls jumpers. So that's really my main focus. That's what I have the most background in. I was a jumper and sprinter myself. So I've really always stuck to those groups in terms of my specialties.
And how do you best prepare your athletes for a track meet?
So I think the training is so important, as it is in any sport, but coming up with good workouts, coming up with a way to allow your athletes to peak at the right time. In track, you're not going to just keep getting better and better through the season. You have to try to prepare yourself to be peaking at the right time. So sometimes that involves earlier meets, not necessarily getting the score that you're looking for, but knowing that you're working your way to that so that you don't do too much along the way. And I think also you have to understand that once the meet comes, the training is done. You've done the training. You've got yourself there, and there's a lot of mental aspects to competing in a track meet, and that's what I try to focus on at the meets, is just the mental piece. And everybody's a little different, right? Some people are super nervous. Some people, get down on themselves after a bad performance. There's so many factors to it that I try to focus on that mental aspect during the meets.
Yeah, definitely.
And what does a typical practice look like for the sprinters and jumpers?
So a typical practice, and again we break it down by week, is generally you'll have 2 days of workouts, which are kind of harder days, where they're either doing a longer type workout to build up kind of that lactate threshold, or we're doing like super fast, shorter stuff to work on the speed. So that's 2 days a week, and then the other 2 days of the week, the jumpers jump. So jumpers are also sprinters. You have to have speed in order to be able to jump. Generally, maybe high jumps a little different, but all the other jumps. So they're also sprinters usually. So we treat them like sprinters on the workout days, 2 jumping days a week as well that we do when they're not going to do any of the workout stuff.
All right. So now, what is your favorite part of being a coach of both football and track?
I think in both, the ability to allow somebody to reach their potential and try to help them reach that potential and seeing the success along the way. In football, it's not always as clear. You kind of see it on film. In track, it's right there for you because your times and your jumps just get better and they get their best scores. So being able to see the success of the athletes and watch them improve and accomplish things that they didn't think they could necessarily accomplish, that has been, I think, the best part of coaching both those sports for me.
And have you coached any other sports previously?
Yeah, so when I first started here, I did some girls basketball. I was a JV coach for 2 years and varsity girls basketball coach for about 4 years. And I've also coached indoor track and field a couple of seasons, but I didn't really like the going to the city, to the armory, and the Sundays, and some of the crazy schedule that entails. And now with kids, obviously, it's not easy to do. So, it's they're two different sports, but the same goals are always in mind. Trying to get as best as you can, trying to see the improvement, which is cool.
Yeah. And final question, what is your most proudest moment as either a football or track coach?
That's a tough question. I would have to say, obviously, the state championship in any of them, specifically the first, which was 2016, but then being able to do it again 3 times in a row. Because I spent so many years here coaching from 2001 to 2011 where we didn't win any championship. We won league championships, but we didn't win the sectional championship until 2012. And that was an amazing feeling, but realizing that winning a state championship, it's so hard to do. You have to, have a little bit of luck in there, and then being able to accomplish that and then do it over and over again is I'm just super proud of that, and I'm super happy of the way that also affects our community, the pride in the community and brings the community together. I think that's just an amazing feeling for me, and I live here too, so that's been really cool. And, the same thing goes for track. We've had some amazing championships and some amazing individual performances, and just being able to see kids hit that level. And in track too, it doesn't matter if it's our best kid or our kid that's just getting started. Watching them be happy with a score, getting their personal best, getting a PR, it's just a great feeling. So there's been a lot, but the state championships in football obviously are another level of pride.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming in today.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
So next up, we're going to pass it off to Jayden for some girls varsity lacrosse interviews.
So we're with?
Emma Donaldson and Caitlyn Mayfield.
So, what positions in lacrosse do you play, and why did you choose those?
I play midfield, and I've just been playing that my whole life, and that's where my coach put me.
I play goalie, and I started when I was little, and I just thought it was fun and cool to play. So.
Awesome. So I guess what made you want to first start playing lacrosse?
I was in kindergarten when I started playing, and at first it wasn't my favorite, but I stuck with it, and I made a lot of friends and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I started in first grade, and I just thought it looked cool and fun, so I just stuck with it since.
Yeah. I guess what was your proudest moment in lacrosse? Just I guess throughout your whole life, whatever.
I feel like we were both on JV in 8th grade, which was fun, and also last year when we beat Pelham was a good time.
Yeah, this year, even though we didn't win, we lost by 1 in overtime to Bronxville, and I think that our team played well in that game, and I think we all did good. So
Awesome.
I'm proud of that.
Yeah, teamwork's pretty cool. Do you have any pressure in games, and how do you handle that?
I feel when we're playing good teams, it's hard, but when we regroup and talk with everyone and the coaches hype us up before the game, it helps a lot.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure sometimes, especially for me, I have to save the ball, but you just have to calm yourself down and realize it will be fine. So
yeah, it's important. I guess how do you prepare? How do you practice to get ready for a game?
we like scout and like our coaches tell us like who like the players on the other team are like good, so we watch them, and like just practicing our offense and defense really helps, and like our clears and draws really important.
Yeah, so we practice almost every day, and then we go over and scout out and watch the other team's film and like see what they do. But that's it.
Cool. I guess, what would you say? Any final thoughts about like your season overall? Like, what do you think of it?
It's playoffs soon, so we're really excited, and we hope we can make it pretty far because we are in like a challenge. Like we're in a hard like class.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, like this season, we've had some ups and downs. Like like the other day, like that
Sure.
wasn't our best moment, but we can come back from that.
Awesome. All right. Well, best of luck with playoffs. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we're going to talk about the NBA playoffs recap.
All right, so another thing to mention before we get on to round 2 of the playoffs, the Dallas Mavericks a few nights ago won the lottery. They were a play-in team. They had a 1.8% chance to win, and they somehow got it done, winning a second year in a row for a play-in team to win, as the Hawks did it last year as well. But yeah, Mavs with 1.8% chance, and now it looks like they're going to get a really great player at the number 1 pick. And then now let's just talk about the series. So Knicks lead the Celtics in their series 3-2, and the Knicks have just been playing phenomenal basketball, and it's been a few unlucky streaks for the Celtics, but the Celtics able to get a big win last night to force game number 6. And then we have the Pacers and the Cavs series, and the Cavs wound up taking that series in 5 games, losing Mobley, Mitchell, and Garland for a few games. Did affect that a little bit, did affect the Cavs, but still the Cavs, even with them back, weren't able to rebound and come back into this series, so the Cavs lost that, and the Pacers are in the Eastern Conference Championship. And then we have the Thunder, who took a 3-2 lead, probably the most competitive series right now, against the Nuggets, and it's been back and forth. I think if any team can beat this Thunder team at this point in the playoffs, it is this Nuggets team, so we'll see if they're going to be able to get it done. And then we have the Wolves and the Timberwolves and the Warriors, and without Steph Curry, it was a rough go of things for the Warriors, as the series was tied at 1, but Timberwolves won 3 in a row to win the series in 5 games. So now, in the next couple weeks, we are going to be having the biggest race in motorsports, one of the biggest races in motorsports, in the Indy 500. We predicted this last year. I'm excited to predict it again. So, Brandon, who do you think is going to take the Indy 500?
I have Will Power.
Will Power, yeah, he's been good. He's won the Indy 500 before back in 2018. But yeah, the Indy 500, there's so many drivers that can take this one. As we've seen a great job last few years by Penske. I think Penske's going to be up there. Also, we're going to see Ferrucci. I think we may even see some that whole team, Ferrucci's team as well, working together. So Ferrucci's going to be an important name there. Alex Palou has won 4 of the 5 races already this season. There's so many people that could take this one, but I think this is going to be first career win for Santino Ferrucci. I think he's going to get it done at the Indy 500. He's come close the last few years. I think this is the year where he breaks through, gets his first win, and wins the Indy 500.
Yeah, next we're going to update you on the MLB here. So a few short things to note. The Detroit Tigers, they're hot right now with a walk-off win over the Red Sox. Not happy over here. They completed a series sweep there, and they maintained the best record in the American League at 29-15. So last night, May 14th, Aaron Judge had his 15th home run, and that propelled the Yankees to a 3-2 victory over the Mariners. They're in a tight race at the top of the AL East, and unfortunately, Yankees utility Oswaldo Cabrera has suffered a fractured left ankle. He was tagging up on a sac fly against the Mariners on May 12th. He has been placed on the 10-day injured list, and he's undergoing medical evaluations to determine if he is going to need surgery. We hope he gets better soon.
And also coming up is the MLB Subway Series, and as the Mets take on the Yankees. And Brandon, what do you see happening in that series?
Yeah, I have the Yankees winning Friday night, coming out hot with this start of the series, the bats really going and think it's going to be a pretty decent win for the Yankees. There may be like 10 to like 5, a pretty big run difference there. But then Saturday, I think it's just going to slow down a little bit. I have the Mets winning on Sunday, score more like 4-2 or 3. And then Sunday, I have it being a competitive game to the end with the Yankees walking it off in the 9th inning.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting series, but yeah, I see for these 3 games, I think the Mets, they've been on a strong run, and I think the Mets start off getting the first one. It's going to be close, maybe an 8-5 game, Mets taking it. The second game, I think that one we could see an extra innings, an exciting one where the Mets take it, and I think the Mets are going to wind up winning Game 3 as well, sweeping the Yankees. Both teams have been playing great, but I think the Mets have been doing very great this season, and I think we're going to see the Mets sweep that series over the Yankees.
Yeah, very interesting thing as well. Juan Soto is returning to his home stadium from last year, so we'll see if that brings back some of those memories, maybe gets him back into what he was doing last season with the Yankees. As we know, he's been struggling a little bit with the Mets this season so far. And also, this is a big weekend in New York City. For New York sports, we have the Mets and Yankees playing each other along with the Knicks in contention against the Celtics. That series is still going on, I believe 3-2 right now with the Knicks in the lead.
Yeah, and that's going to be interesting. Will the Celtics force it to 7 as well? But next up, we have NASCAR at Texas recap, and it was a domination, a great race by Kyle Larson, who wound up taking that one, leading a ton of laps there.
Next up, we're going to predict the NASCAR Coca-Cola 600. Benny, who do you think?
So this is another race that could be anyone. It's the longest NASCAR race of the year. Also, something to mention, it's on the same day as the Indy 500, and Kyle Larson's attempting to do the 1100. We'll see. He wasn't able to do it last year. We'll see if he does it this year, but still, I don't think there's any chance Larson's going to win that one. Maybe the Indy 500 as its first, but I think it's going to be, it could be a lot that happens, but I think the driver that wins is going to be a first-time win for a driver this year. It's just whoever is in front at the end and is lucky, as it's always a long race, and I think it's going to be 19 of Chase Briscoe to get his first win of the year and first win on Joe Gibbs Racing to get it done for the Coke 600.
I have William Byron taking the 600 here. Kyle Larson, that's going to be fun to see. I can see him performing well in the Indy 500, absolutely, but I just think that the heat is going to get to him. I mean, those cars are hot, the suits, they're hot in there. The heat's going to get to him. He's not going to perform as well in the Coke 600.
And just a topic, let's just talk about a little more. So Kyle Larson doing the doubleheader, where do you see him finishing in the Indy 500?
Indy 500, I have him probably in the top 7. He's up there with some of those better drivers, so maybe a top 5 finish, 5th place finish, in the top 7, and then I don't think he's going to win. I think Will Power is going to win, as I said earlier.
Yeah, and what about in the Coke 600?
Coke 600, I have William Byron winning, so not Kyle Larson. I talked about he's going to be tired. Heat exhaust did a little bit. I can see him finishing maybe 22nd place around there. Not terrible, just he's already performed once that day, so.
Yeah, definitely on that. But first for the Indy 500. Yeah, last year, as you saw, he was up there with the leaders up towards the top for most of the race before that drive-through penalty happened. And I think he may be up there competing for the win. I could possibly see a top 5, maybe even a top 3. And I think he's going to come in 3rd in this year's Indy 500, as he has the skills to win it, and he's put up fast times already in practice. And then on the Coca-Cola 600, as Brandon said, he'll be tired. I think, as he is a great driver, he's going to be able to get a okay finish still, but not as good as what he usually gets if he had the West before. But I think it's going to be Larson coming between 10th and 20th, maybe around 15th place.
So next up, we're going to discuss our Section 1 Boys Lacrosse Power Rankings. Ben, you want to get us started there?
Yeah, so at number 10, we got Clarkstown South has had a great season.
Number 9, North Salem. They're up there just barely better than Clarkstown.
And then at number 8, we have Mamaroneck, a top team in Class A, but at the same time, the teams in Class A aren't the strongest, probably the strongest ones around here, as as we have two Class C teams that we'll talk about a little bit more as we move up this list. Two Class C teams who are in the top 25 in the nation.
Yeah, then we have at number 7, we have Pleasantville.
And then at 6, we have Tappan Zee, who Tuskers to take on the day we're recording this in the final game of the season, and they've had a good season at 13-2.
Yeah, on to the top 5 now. So number 5, we have Pearl River, currently 12-2.
And then we got Harrison, also currently 12-2, has had a phenomenal season as well.
Number 3 spot, we have Horace Greeley at 11-3.
Yeah, and Horace Greeley always has been a great team. They've performed very well this year, and yeah, just a great performance. And they're always a team that's tough to beat in the playoffs, beating some really good teams, but at the same time have lost to the top 2 teams as well. And at number 2, we got Y. Yeah, Y's just always been a good team. They're the defending section champs as well, and they're going to be tough to beat. They had a close one against Greeley, and I know they're going to be taking on the number 1 team in the playoffs. And Y is ranked 15th in the nation, but the team I have at number 1 is ranked 25, but I personally think is better is the Tuskers. So this Tuskers team has been putting up a phenomenal performance throughout this season, dominating basically every game they've played, including Greeley, who's at number 3. Greeley took on Rye a few weeks ago as well, and that was only a 1-point win for Rye. So the fact that Tusker was able to dominate them, this is just a special team, and I think they're possibly the favorite to win the section at this point. Alright, so now on to the girls flag football Class B bracket. We're going to talk about that as this is the bracket that Somers is in. We're going to predict the playoffs, and the first matchup we have 8 seed John Jay taking on 9 seed Westchester. John Jay, well-coached team this season, and I think John Jay is going to take that one. We got Yorktown and Fox Lane. I think Yorktown wins that one. As they're the 6 seed, we have Peekskill and Somers. Somers being the 10 seed, Peekskill being the 7 seed. I think it's going to be Somers who takes that one. So now on to the next round, we have Brewster and John Jay. I think this is where John Jay's winning streak ends, and I think it's going to be Brewster who takes that one. Then we have Horace Greeley take on Mayor Pack. I think Greeley wins that one. And then we have Yorktown and Lakeland. I see Lakeland taking that one. And then Somers takes on Tappan Zee. Unfortunately, I think this is where this great one for Somers is going to come to an end, as Tappan Zee is just too good of a team. Then we have Tappan Zee and Lakeland. I think it's going to be Tappan Zee taking that one. And Brewster taking on Greeley, and I think it's Brewster who takes that one. So we have Tappan Zee and Brewster in the Class B Section 1 championship, and I think it's going to be Tappan Zee who takes it.
Yeah, on to my bracket now. So our first game is going to be John Jay Cross River against Eastchester in the first round. I think Cross River is going to win that one, advancing to the quarterfinals. Yorktown 6 against Fox Lane 11. I think Yorktown is going to win that. Peekskill against Somers. Somers winning that there. Onto the quarterfinals, we have Brewster against John Jay Cross River. I think Brewster is going to advance there. Then we have Horace Greeley against Mayapack. That's going to be a win for Mayapack there. And then on to the lower side here, we have Yorktown taking on Lakeland. I think Yorktown, with an upset there, is going to beat Lakeland. And Somers, unfortunately, taking on Tappan Zee. I think this is where their playoff season ends. Tappan Zee is going to advance there. Coming into the semifinals, we have Brewster against Mayapack. I think Brewster, being the 1 seed, is going to win that game very closely against Mayapack. Then we have Yorktown against Tappan Zee. Tappan Zee winning that. Nice run there by Yorktown, but Tappan Zee just too good there. So in our finals, that is going to give us Brewster and Tappan Zee, the 1 and 2 seed, and I do think Tappan Zee is going to win the section.
All right, so I'm here with
Dean Palazzolo,
Jayden Newman, and Cameron Violante.
And how do you all feel about yours and the team's performance today?
Great. We played our hearts out. It was beautiful.
It was awesome. Couldn't have done it better. We played amazing on both sides of the field, especially riding and clearing.
Very well said.
My friend Sigma Newman just locked in.
And what is something you think you and the team can work on after today's game? There's always something to work on.
You boys got any? Maybe picking up the ground ball. That's what I'm going to say.
ground ball work. We can learn on that.
absolutely.
It's everything. We miss some.
And finally, what will you do to prepare for your next matchup?
Work harder. That's all it is.
Fun day at the golf sim tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the golf simulator. Me and Jayden. That is 1v1 again. We're gonna win. Yeah.
All right.
All right, well, thank you.
Here first, folks.
All right, thank you and congratulations on
Thank
the win.
you.
So I'm here with.
Lorenzo D'Ambrosio.
And how do you feel about yours and the team's performance today?
I feel like we played good as a team today. Just got on base, timely hitting, and shout out pitcher Andrew Kupika show up today. Just thankful for the opportunity.
Yeah, and what do you think was the most impressive play in today's game?
Got to think about that one. Probably Andrew Kupika's performance, honestly. He was shoving.
Yeah, and what is something that you think the team needs to improve on? Even though there's a great win, but there's always something to improve on after this game.
Just taking practice more seriously. I feel like our guys are talented enough. It's just every day being consistent.
And finally, what will you do to prepare for the next matchup?
Just stay mentally locked in. Get after it.
All right, well, congratulations on the win. All right, so I'm here with.
Tyler Venturini.
And how do you feel about yours and the team's performance today?
The first part of my performance wasn't great. First two ABs, not great, but the last one, that's all that matters. I smoked the double in the gap and then got a run on the board for us. And our team, Andrew really pitched the gem, and that grand slam from Lorenzo was really powerful. I love that swing from him.
Don't let the boys get hot.
Yeah, well,
Amen.
Definitely. And what is something you will do to prepare for your next matchup?
I think we got Brewster next, and last year we got a little heated with them, so we just got to remember to stay calm and just play our game.
And finally, what do you think the play of the game was today?
Oh, definitely Lorenzo's grand slam. That ball went like 300 feet plus, like 340 plus.
Well, thank you and congratulations on the big win.
Thank you, Benny.
Okay, now we're on to some NFL schedule predictions. So I'm gonna be going first. So what we do is we're picking two teams, and we're gonna give their record and talk about it a little bit. So first up, I'm doing the Cowboys. No surprise there. I think they're gonna finish 9-8 this season. I'm gonna predict Week 1. I think Week 1, unfortunately, is gonna be a loss to the Eagles, 31-20, and Thanksgiving as well. I think they're gonna lose to the Chiefs, 36-16. Unfortunately, I did pick two games that I thought the Cowboys were gonna lose, but I thought that these were two major games for the Cowboys season. It'd be great if they could pull up the upset in one or two of those games, hopefully. And then I'm also going to predict the Buffalo Bills. I have them finishing at 13-4. And then Week 9, I think they're going to lose to the Chiefs 30-27. And Week 17, I think they're going to beat the Eagles 23-20.
All right, so now I'll be predicting two schedules today. So the first schedule is going to be my favorite team, the New England Patriots. So week number 1, they take on the Raiders. I think that's going to be a one-score game, which comes down right to the end. And I think it's going to be Patriots squeaking it out 27-20. Week 2, I see a win over the Dolphins. Patriots have an easy schedule. As Week 3, they take on the Steelers. Still don't know what their quarterback situation is, but regardless, I see the Patriots taking that win there. Week number 4, they take on the Panthers. I think that's going to be another win for the New England Patriots. So now sitting at 4-0, they take on the Bills. I think this is the first time they're going to take the L in this one, in this season, as they're going to fall to 4-1. Then they take on the Saints. Week number 6, rebound from the loss and get a big win over the Saints. Then they're going to take on the Titans, and I think it's going to be Mike Vrabel revenge game there. A domination performance by Somers, by Patriots winning 38-9. And then week number 8, we have the Browns. I could see this being a trap game. I think the Patriots are going to lose this one to the Browns. And then we have week 9 against the Falcons. I think they take that one. So now 7-2 on the season. Take on the Bucs. I think, fortunately, the Patriots are going to lose there. Then they take on the Jets. Week number 11, a win there. Now at 8-3 on the season as they take on the Bengals. I think it's going to be a good game, but I think at the end of the day, Patriots defense is going to win it for them. The Bengals don't have as good defense as they're going to take it and extend their record to 9-3. Then they take on the Giants, an easy win against the Giants there. And then after their bye week, they take on the Bills, and I think the Patriots are going to upset the Bills in this one, splitting the series with the Bills this season to head to an 11-3 record. But then they take on the Ravens week number 16, and I think that is where the Patriots are going to fall and get their 4th loss of the year. But I see them taking it week number 17 against the Jets, but a loss week 18 against the Dolphins. It will be a close one, but I just see so many scenarios where the Dolphins take that one. All right, so now on to the Eagles' schedule. So week 1, they take on the Cowboys, defending Super Bowl champions. Come into this one, I think they're gonna destroy the Eagles in this one. A 47-13 win to start off the season for the Eagles. Then week number 2, they take on the Chiefs. Chiefs want revenge from the Super Bowl, and I think they're gonna play the Eagles a lot more tough. Eagles are losing some great players on the defense and around the team, and I think Chiefs are going to be a lot more competitive. I see this game going into overtime, and I think it's going to be a 40-34 win. Then week 3, they take on the Rams. I think a win against the Rams will match last year's playoff game. Week number 4, however, I see the first loss, and I don't even see this being close, as the Buccaneers dominate over the Eagles 34-13. Then another loss against the Broncos against the Eagles as well. So Eagles sitting at 3-2, 2 losses in a row. They take on the Giants week number 6, and I think it's gonna be a win there for the New York Giants. I apologize. A win there for the Philadelphia Eagles to make it get their 4th win of the year. Then I see them getting a win against the Vikings, a win against the Giants the following week there. So now sitting at 6-2, they take on the Packers week 10. I see this is going to be a trap game. Looking ahead to the Detroit matchup next week, I see the Packers who are going to take this one, and they're going to pull away in this one as well, 33-20. Then we have the Lions versus Eagles week 11. I think that's going to be a win for the Eagles, winning that one 34-21. And then we have the Cowboys week 12 on Thanksgiving. Cowboys week 12, and I think it's going to be the Eagles who take that one. So now sitting at 8-3, they take on the Bears Black Friday. Easy win for the Eagles there. So, and then they take on the Chargers the next week. I think that's going to be a win for the Chargers as well. Followed by that, they take on the Raiders week 15, sitting at 10-3. That's going to be another easy win. And then week 16, they take on the Commanders. I see this game being a shootout. A lot of points scored in this one, and I think it's going to be the Eagles who take this one 40-35. But week 17, they take on the Bills, and I think we're going to see a lot of points in this one as well. However, I think the Bills are going to slowly more and more pull away, as it's going to be a big win for the Bills, 48-34. And then to end off the season will be a loss against the Commanders, and the Eagles will go 12-5 this season.
We are the Somers Sports Broadcasting Club. See you next.
Opening as it's going to go with his Kelly. It's going to go in. Mason Kelly gets his first goal of the day for the Tuskers. Let's bang on the drum all day as it goes in. That's Mason Kelly with his... Tristan Iglesias goes back out. Movement now back out to Kelly. Kelly goes under. Mason Kelly, goal number 4 of the day. 2 goals right away to start off the second half as Mason Kelly gets it in.